and nobody was over here. Just all of a sudden, the whole big, commercial glass door window smashed.
Today we're here at Jay's Brewing Supplies in Manassas, Virginia with owner Thomas.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're going to talk about some small business stuff and some home brewing stuff. My name is Daniel. Tyke's here with me today.
What up, what up?
Welcome to Muddled Dice. So, Thomas, what can you tell us about the history of Jay's Brewing? Kind of like where it started and then how you and Jill ended up owning it?
Sure. So obviously I was a home brewer, and I just kind of found that I was doing the same old stuff at work. I had grown to know Derek, the owner at the time when I bought it, and I knew that he was into some entrepreneurial stuff, and so I got to asking him what was next for him and Jay's Brewing. He eventually said, I was looking at a new position. He went out and got a bunch of certificates and things like that to better himself, and so he was going to let Jay's go. And I thought to myself, well, where am I going to get my homebrew supplies?
Right.
First and foremost. And then at the time, I think we had just had, or we were just about to have our second kid. And so Jill wasn't working, and I was like, what better than to pile this on her plate?
Right.
So,
Dad of the year.
So, yeah. And I, excuse me. I mean, I guess I'm kind of entrepreneurial.
Okay.
So it was just kind of a fit, and I knew that this would help me to learn about the taxes and things that go along with owning your own business.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit about continuous education for me, and also a passion for the hobby, as it is still today.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I was gonna ask too, like going through that, doing this new challenge and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, were you nervous? Were you scared? Was it a little bit of everything? Was it a mixed balance?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's a good question. I think I was not at the time, but
Gotcha.
I probably should have been. I think that that nervousness has grown over time. It is a serious thing. You definitely accepting liability, owning your own business, but at the time, no. It was pretty much let's see where this takes us.
Done.
So let's
Just jump into the deep
such
end.
an awesome
Nice.
opportunity to have that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I brought this beer. Do you guys want any of this beer?
Yeah,
oh
if you
my
want- if you wanna
gosh,
pop
we
it, of course. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know how that's.
No,
gonna
that
come
was-
across.
No, that's fine. That's cool.
On a.
I was already
On
thinking
it.
of the questions to ask stuff like
No,
that. My
we
bad,
should-
man.
We've done.
It's-
we'll
I
listen,
can pour if you guys. What
Sure.
other questions?
No, I caught you opening a bottle of bourbon once when you were interviewing Corey Davis.
Oh,
yeah.
yep.
So, yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
it's
good.
par for the course.
Good looking out.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's still kind of
What did you
crazy.
pick up from
Oh, good.
our other
question.
our previous guest,
So,
Bad Wolf?
Yeah, so I didn't have any in the fridge back here, so I just ran to my neighbor here, Bad Wolf Brewing Company, and this is their raspberry stout.
Good choice.
May even be imperial.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
If I recall, it's about 8.5 too.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna get lit over here.
So
all right then.
Not
Questions gonna get loosey real
drink
quick.
at your own.
Thank you, kind sir.
Yeah. But I may have not completely answered your question, Dan, about just how I started. Was there anything else that I didn't?
So you answered how you started. You guys
Yeah.
started fairly well. Do you know much about, like, I think I've heard about how Jay's kind of started in like a basement and grew from there. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah. So, 2002, started with Jay Russ. He, he's the. You brought up the story about the basement.
Yeah.
Yep. Jay. That was Jay's basement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So and that's where the name come from. Today it's convenient. Jay, Jill. My wife is Jill.
Yeah.
So
JJ.
yeah. So
What's up, man?
so and that's not completely the reason we kept the name, but I'll come back to that. So 2002, that was Jay Russ, and then I think 2008, 2007, 2008, Derek bought it from Jay.
Okay.
He moved it out to Clifton, where then it kind of grew, and he moved it out to Clifton, small place over there. I think we even still come up on Google. There's a location
as
in
being
Clifton.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
yeah, it creates some confusion sometimes, but everybody
Coming to
pretty
your
much
door.
knows us where we're at today at 9790. Also, Derek took it from Clifton to here.
Okay.
And I don't know, I can't remember the year that he brought it over here, but this is where it was when we bought it. When we bought it from Derek. So happy to say we're the third owners. Each has kind of had their own flavor and chapter.
Sure.
Kind of put upon the place. So I hope Jill and I are doing the same.
Yeah.
Well, certainly, yeah. It's awesome because it's the thing that you guys are growing and working together towards. So it's like both of y'all,
Sure.
Working together toward a common goal.
Absolutely.
Which is exciting, I'm sure.
Yeah, it creates some intense arguments at times.
Yeah. I bet.
But I'm always right, so it's
Not me, wifey. Like,
so
good job.
But we've done a lot. There's a lot that we still want to do with it.
Sure.
But we have 3 kids, and I think not to make any excuses, but it has slowed things.
I think kids is a fairly valid excuse,
I
especially
know, but it's
When you want to be
excuse.
involved in their life and stuff like that too. So that's
I appreciate
completely
you guys
understood.
for acknowledging that.
Yeah, for sure.
I still think they're just a bunch of excuses, those kids. I'm kidding. Love them to death, but we do want to do much more with the place. My goal ultimately is just for this to be the one-stop shop.
Okay.
Homebrew shop.
Cool.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, it not in random or anything like that. So I was going to ask, like, hey, what are your, in the future, like the next 2 years or maybe even 3 years?
Yep.
If you can discuss,
Yeah.
what things you have store or
We're pretty
for.
open to it, and the customers know and our friends know. We've been working towards our ABC license.
Nice.
The liquor, like the ABC liquor.
Yeah.
Oh, done. I'm sorry.
The
Okay.
alcohol, the Virginia alcohol
yeah.
licenses,
Okay.
right? So, the logical next step there is to get warm or cold bottle sales within the shop. Nothing of my own. I'm focused on being the best homebrew shop in Northern Virginia.
Nice. Nice.
And there are some other kind of arms of the business, brew related, that can create synergies, but we are focused on being the best homebrew shop, and if we can bring value in other areas, that's what we'll do.
What other kind of I'm sorry, Dan. Do you want to add something, Trevor?
I was just gonna ask you, sir, about like the cold and warm bottles, from local breweries, or what were you thinking?
So we definitely want to support local,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we are not here today. We're not an island, right?
Yeah.
We have had a lot of support from other breweries. We definitely feel part of that community. So we would start local. We want to be local and unique. So those things that are on the West Coast that are maybe a little bit harder to get for us out here.
Oh, okay.
We would definitely be researching more and figuring out what it would take to get that stuff in here. There's some great beers up east or up northeast.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And if you guys can get like 805 or Telegraph Road beer, that would be awesome.
That's
I'd
what's
buy
up.
you out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah. See, my question I was going to ask too is like, okay, so you get the ABC, that certificate or certified?
Licenses.
Okay, licenses and
there's
stuff like that.
A few different tiers of licenses.
Oh, okay. So then there's all right. So how long does those typically take, or how long?
The process it can be fairly quickly.
Oh, okay.
Fairly quick, as
Yeah.
long as you have all
your documentation.
all your documentation and
Stuff in order.
prerequisites. let's just
Okay.
say,
I
right?
got you. Okay.
So, and Jill and I are just working through those now. Yeah.
Cool. In terms of small business challenges, are there any that are kind of unique to this industry, to the home brewing industry? Because you're shipping in grain, which is a food, I guess, and like other things like that. So, anything unique to that?
Yes and no. I mean, so one, I'm probably a bad person to ask because I've never owned a business of a different category, right?
Okay, right, sure.
But I'll say, we have learned freshness is key. Customers, they will pick up on it, right? One of the things that we did when we first came in here is we sent out a blanket email and said basically, hey, we're brand new to this. What you guys tell us what we need, right?
Awesome.
And we got a lot of good feedback from friends of the shop. And probably the number one thing was the hops. When we first got here, hops were the shop had bought them in bulk, and it was like they were stored cold, but in large containers. And what you would do is when you would come in here, if you needed a half an ounce, it was really great. You could just shake out a half an ounce. But, you know, the obvious thing there is that after 4 or 5 people shaking out a half an ounce at a time, that's opening, closing, you're exposing it to oxygen. So freshness is key. I mean, just to get back to the root of the question, definitely freshness. So you'll notice with all of our grain, they're all, you know, locked up in those, what would you call those? Those gravity bins, excuse me.
Yeah,
so they're all sealed up.
Yeah, that's new since the last time I've been in here.
So that was an investment. Those bins were not cheap, but and then all of the other ones that are used less frequently, those are all stored in the airtight containers and things like that. We have our food permits, so we went and got those. There was a little bit of gray area as to whether or not we needed it because we don't sell it as a ready-made consumable product.
Sure.
But we went ahead and tried to meet the high water mark for that.
Yeah.
Just we want to be responsible.
Right.
You know.
If your end goal is to be the best in here, you got to.
Certainly.
That's understood for sure.
So things like that. There's other small nuances, like we don't have a big outdoor presence here where we have a big lift gate or anything. So when we get shipments, you know, it's like you could drive by and there's like 4 or 5 pallets on the sidewalk.
I think I drove by the other day and there was like a big box truck out there like taking up 6 spaces. Like, I'll go the other way around.
Things like that. I'm trying, you know, I'm looking around the shop here and just trying to think of what.
So what you said, you store like the less used malt in or grains in a separate like airtight container. What grains do you sell most, and what grains are kind of like, oh, that's weird when someone buys it?
Sure. Your base malts, you know, your Pilsners, your 2 rows, Maris Otters, things like that.
I have no idea what is base malts.
Good segue. No, so we should talk about this real quick. Tyke, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not a brewer. Not a brewer.
I
never
just drink.
Brewed.
That's all I got under my belt.
Connoisseur, we call that.
Connoisseur. Français.
So, so base malts are kind of like that's what I call like your blank slate. You build on your beer from there, right? So those are going to be adding your sugars. All your fermentables really come from that base malt. And so that's what people buy the most of. You know, your typical like 5-gallon recipe, that's what people are usually starting out with. That's kind of the standard. So those are bought at a much higher quantity. 5, 10, 15 pounds at a time.
Right.
And then you'll add your specialty grains, which is going to add more of your flavors and your aromas to the beer. Color, things like that. Some sweetness. Kind of a tangent there, but those are your paints, you know. Those are your paints.
Excellent.
So those are bought on lower quantities. Some of your smoked malts are going to be much smaller quantities, you know, depending on the beer. I'm trying to speak in generalities here, but you know, cherry wood is coming to mind right now. That stuff is pretty potent. If somebody walks in and buys 15 pounds of that, I'm really gonna be curious.
What are you making?
What are they making? Right?
But that cherry wood is considered a smoke.
It's a smoked malt, and it's a specialty grain.
Got it.
Kind of there's base malts and specialty malts.
Is there like an extreme?
Extreme, like an extreme specialty.
Like it's like the high, like.
I don't know what, you know, nothing's really coming to mind right now. That one unique malt that's grown in popularity the last couple of years is Red X.
Everything with an X, I swear.
Extreme. But just as it sounds, you know, its target, it's kind of like a Munich malt, but its target there is to be more a really red, a deep red. You know, so using the right quantities, you can get a really deep red beer. So that's kind of a unique, you know, malt. But you can actually use that as a base malt. So
all right, no.
I digress.
Yeah.
So you said it's like a Munich malt, so it's kind of like a biscuity heavy flavor, but it gives you a red beer instead of a brown beer.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's weird.
Yeah, we can, and later if you want, we can go back and I can show you that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It'd be cool for B-rollers.
Oh yeah,
that'd
be great
for sure, homie. Yeah,
cool. Okay.
This is pretty good. What do you guys think?
Oh,
of this?
dude,
Oh yeah, I've been drinking this since they put it on tap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm typically not a fan of stout, but yo, this is good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty You said like 8 points
for
something.
Bad Wolf too.
Oh my goodness gracious.
It's like 8.5.
Yeah. So I just gotta make sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Chilling.
No, and appreciate it.
No,
very much.
Another question then. So, are you using like any social media and stuff like that? Is there any kind of like, I don't know, are you benefiting from putting your stuff on Facebook or Instagram or any of that jazz?
Yep. I would say yes. We probably, we probably don't do the greatest job on, as you kind of get away from Facebook. I don't know what the numbers look like, but to me that seems like the most popular. So I'll just go with that.
Yeah.
So like as we get further away from the Facebooks, we don't do as great a job of using them. But we are active on Facebook, Twitter. We do some.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Let's see what else.
We
have done some Instagram. Okay. Brooke, one of our new employees, she does a great job. So I put her on the and she's got some really great pictures. She took a trip to Colorado, had some really great pictures from out there. So things like
the social manager guy.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up. Because I was asking because you had mentioned something too about like how you guys were being transparent and reaching out to your customers and stuff like that. So I didn't know if through Twitter or through other stuff like that you were still like, hey, is there any other kind of advice like now that you guys are more established from when you began? Are you still reaching out? Are you still always looking for? Yeah, no, that's a great question.
We absolutely are. It ebbs and flows, I'll say, and maybe sometimes with the season.
I was just
we're out there, engaging on a daily basis. It's not uncommon for us to get a message at like 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday. We're not open, but I mean, sorry to pat myself on the back here, but we are always responding to those types of things.
Yeah, I noticed that even when I was organizing this podcast with Jill, like she was.
That's awesome. See?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Holy Grail thing, kind of like Oktoberfest or something like that. Like you get like just the whole.
So leading up to Oktoberfest, we'll definitely get a lot of inquiries about Oktoberfest beers.
Okay, I got you.
And we may even get more inquiry in October for Oktoberfest, which is going to be
kind of silly.
Yeah, a little silly because you have to plan and you have to really make this beer quite early. But that's what people want to drink, and so you do the best you can and you get close. And, I've made an Oktoberfest in October, so
You fermented for like 2 weeks.
Try.
Yeah. Do you get kind of on that topic? Do you find you get the kind of malts that people buy kind of come in waves with the seasons, like with hot weather and cold weather?
Absolutely. Yeah. I like data. I'm definitely not going to put a title to that, but I like data, so I like to comb through the sales and things like that, and dark malts. I mean, it's to be expected. No really like, crazy insights just yet, but yeah, the dark malts definitely sell more leading into the fall right now.
Yeah,
things like that.
Yeah.
Pilsners, hot in the summer. Things like that. Rice wholesales go up crazy.
Oh God,
See, okay, so stupid question. Why? I didn't understand. Like, why does that go?
That's a really great question because, frankly, I can drink a stout in the middle of summer.
That's what.
Yeah. But tastes do vary with the season.
Okay.
This is not a lawnmower beer. We're drinking this 8% stout right now. Typically, you're not going to drink this on like the hot day. You want something really refreshing, crisp, light. You don't want something. The sun puts you under the weather as it is. You don't want this thing to put you over.
Yeah, I need to get educated. That's what it is. I'm just so used to just being like, hey, okay, something's there. Yeah. Boop.
Normal people don't choose an 8.5 stout. Fair enough. It's like 80 degrees out and 90% humidity. Sure. But some of us do.
I'm going to sweat it out.
But I mentioned like the rice hulls. You know, when you get into the wheat beers, the summer wheat beers, as you're brewing those wheat beers, wheat has a tendency to clump up, and so rice hulls will actually help you lauter, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
the sales go up there.
Got you.
You know, for that.
Yeah.
Not an expensive product, but it's
But still, yeah. I'm with
Lauter is it's a clarifying technique,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I'm not
just bringing
exactly
the water through the grain.
Okay, yeah.
Hopefully that's correct. Yeah.
Shoot, have you guys ever thought
Sure.
of like, I don't know, like a YouTube channel, just like 101? Like, hey, just check all this stuff out.
We
Bop,
have
bop, bop.
actually. I have a good
Oh.
friend Scott that he was spearheading that for me, and I have been dropping the ball with him. it's a lot.
I bet it, but
It's a lot to do. I mean, I've got the lights and things like that, so to set up a bit of a sound stage or what have you. And something that we'd like to do.
okay,
But it's too much to manage for me right now.
Sure.
that's
you know?
understood. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but I do still have my full-time gig.
Okay.
Jill runs this, pretty much by herself
Right.
Done, yeah.
at times. So
Yeah.
I help with some of the marketing, the strategy. I drug her into the homebrewing scene. So she's gotten really smart, and in some ways, I'll have to ask her for. There's
For
your
homebrewing
plug.
advice.
Yeah, there's your plug, Jill.
Done deal, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so cool. That's a family thing. I think that's pretty awesome, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, there's a good video, short 1-minute video of the kids like sweeping the grain room.
Okay.
This was like last week.
That's
they're
right.
all in there sweeping. Yeah,
That's
So
right.
sorry.
Earn your keep. Get in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue, I think, to talk about homebrewing in general. So you had a question. Oh no, let's go back further. How did you get into homebrewing? When did you get into the hobby?
Good question. Let's see. 2000. I moved out here in 2000. I think January 2011.
Okay.
Maybe about a year after that is when I started getting into it. Frankly, Sierra Nevada got me into drinking craft beer.
Good choice.
Yep. So, and still to this day, it's a great choice.
Yeah.
Then, so, start drinking that. Then, palate expands and you start paying, quite a bit of money for a 4 and a 6
Yeah.
pack. And actually, my buddy, I saw he sent a picture. He posted a photo of him like pouring the wort. At the time, I had no idea what the hell he was doing, but pouring the wort in from his boil kettle to the fermenter.
Okay.
And, so I looked in the comments to see what he was doing. He was brewing beer, and I was like, light bulb, like, hello, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
So that's what started me down the journey. I'm sure. So I started buying all my stuff on Amazon to begin with, like my buckets and things like that. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm sure I flagged on some FBI warning thing because I was buying all this
all this stuff left. And
yeah,
right.
I remember sitting there looking at like these huge kettles, and I was very specific about the food grade buckets, and overpaid for the food grade buckets, whatever. Hydrometer. I remember just looking at all this stuff pile up in the corner of my basement and thinking like somebody's gonna think I'm doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Now I kind of realize that it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But
How long ago was this?
that had to have been like 2011, 2012,
Nice.
sometime
Okay.
in there. Yeah.
Wow. All right
So
then.
that's not terribly long ago.
Yeah.
I have customers in here that have been brewing longer than I've been alive.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Mark works here as a hobby. I know it's just a hobby for Mark working here. But yeah, he's been brewing.
Okay.
longer than me.
Wow.
It's a dope hobby, man. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still teach him a thing or two. Though.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I figured it's always like a learning process. Like I feel like
It is.
you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like there can't be just like a one trick like that solves everything. Everybody has to have their own kind of
Yeah.
I guess way of brewing.
Well,
stuff
and
like that, too.
yep, and you brought up a good point. Before we went hot with these mics, is that there's a science to it, but there's also an art form to it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you'll find that a lot of brewers are in one of two camps, or they're slightly in the middle. But some people will just they're eyeballing their hops, they're throwing them in, they're kind of
Yeah.
looking at what they have in the.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just kind of like an
That's-
art to them, like
Gotcha.
what and some people are taking notes, some are not. Some are very specific about like, you need to be doing temperature control, but some people are like meticulous.
I was about to say, like, is it
Yeah.
like a document, of like everything that I did this, and this is the result that I got.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know
There's
what
some
not
really,
to do. Or
there's some really great brew journals out there where you can
okay.
Document every little thing.
Is that what you do? Is
no,
Jill?
I'm probably more. I want to do things right, but if I find that I am slightly short on my hops or something, I'll try to make it up somewhere else.
I got you.
I'm not gonna fret the small stuff.
Okay.
But
does your brew journal say like a handful of malt instead of like 6 pounds or handful of hops? Next time I'll try 2 handfuls.
Yeah, maybe it should. I'd probably make better beer. But no, my notes are. My notes typically result in the recipes that are either found here. I have some on my. I do use Beersmith fairly regularly to document my recipes. But
me too. I was going to ask if there's certain apps that you can use to I guess help along the process.
There's a number of them. I'm partial to the one that I use, but you do some research and you can see there's 5 or 10 different solid
I'm pretty sure there has to be tons of information and stuff on that.
There really is. Yeah. Yep.
So you mentioned recipes that you have here. So you guys have like a book of recipes that people can put a kit together with or something like that?
Yes. Smart. So, I guess for the listener, right? we have over 150 recipes on our website.
Oh, nice.
We can
submit
do those.
It all from you and Jill, or submitted by customers too?
Those have that book has grown over time, starting with Derek Russ.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Jay Russ, and then Derek Satz. A lot of those recipes were his, but they're tried and true. We're accustomed to getting rid of any that we don't feel meet the standards, but. It's very community driven. We have a few in there that are submitted from other customers. We have some that are on the blog that are maybe not in the book there.
Sure.
But we have a really good friend of the shop, Steven Voyage, and he writes a lot of the blog posts.
Okay.
So you can find some really kind of more advanced recipes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's got some clones in there. He does a great job. He does a really great job. So the ones that are not in the book, in store, or online, they're on the blog.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's smart. Yeah.
So, someone comes into the shop.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get into home brewing. They have no idea what they're doing. They want a starter's kit.
Yep.
What would you put together for them in terms of equipment?
So Tyke.
Maybe an easy, like Tyke. Yeah, Tyke wants to get into home brewing.
If wifey was
has
like,
no
Tyke, you can go ahead and get into this shit.
What equipment would you tell them to buy? What maybe a simple recipe that you could start out with.
I want him. Excuse me. I want this hypothetical brewer to be happy with what they make, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of questions that I ask, like, what do you like to drink?
Okay.
Most recipes are about as hard to make as chili. A lot of people say chili. I've heard that. I like it. And chili from a recipe, you can really go crazy with chili. I know.
Right.
So I tend to steer people away from really big, complex IPAs now because there's a lot of hop additions.
Yeah.
Same thing with complex imperial stouts.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask. That's my first question, right? I'm going to ask what they like to drink, and I'm going to either suggest that they brew that or something similar, depending on what it is. And then I'm going to find out what they have at home. So if a lot of people have a large kettle, be it a lot of people have done the turkey fry, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So
no. Sorry.
You've never done a turkey fry?
No.
So large kettle.
Okay.
The takeaway there is large kettle. So people have some of what they need to brew. They already have it. So I'm going to try to figure out.
I got it. Smart.
If they have it. Jill and I are very, very focused on saving people money.
Look at you.
I'm a cheap. No, I know.
Good.
Come on.
Good job, sir.
I'm a cheap ass as it is.
There we go.
Let's be real.
Now.
I'm a cheap ass as it is.
Mark the time. What time is it?
Yeah. Can I say ass on this podcast?
Now.
Okay.
Now we're good. We're good. Sweet.
So, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon for you to hear us say, go look before you take. Go look at Craigslist, see if you can find a large stainless kettle.
Nice.
That's totally not common. But we have these things, and we make sure that we are not gouging anybody. We watch our prices very closely. We try to compete with online. I digress.
Like
so,
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But to get back to it, so I'm gonna figure out what they like to brew. I'm gonna figure out what they already have, and then I'm gonna go from there.
Okay.
There's a number of like starter kit products that we have in the shop, and then most of those full kits we sell in piecemeal form, right? So one of the most popular kits comes with 2 buckets. Well, you can also buy 2 buckets here. Two of the food grade buckets. So things like that. All of our kits or all of our recipes are made in house.
Okay.
Aside from kind of depending on the season, like around Father's Day, it's common for people to just want to grab a box, wrap it, and go.
Done.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be hard with a
off.
recipe.
Yeah.
When you've got grains and different things, but for the most part, all of our recipes are made in house. Keeps the product moving. The grain fresh,
right.
The hops fresh, things like that.
Boom, boom. Because fresh is key.
It is key.
Look,
absolutely.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did that answer the question? I don't know if I fully addressed that question.
Dude,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
Okay,
so that's all there.
I think, Tyke, you had a question about tips for beginners?
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, check it. Like, okay, I see that you can get like a home brewing starter kit.
Yeah.
Is there hey, this is your beginner kit. I know the stuff you have at home, but hey, still kind of like this is what you should be getting into. How much in a range? How much is all that? If you can't talk about how much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we usually see people get out the door like $200. That's
okay.
That's
Yeah,
kind of the number
that's
that's coming to mind right
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus or minus on your recipe, plus or minus on what you already have at home. A big chunk of that is a stainless kettle.
Okay.
And the equipment they can keep using for
Bingo.
more. Yeah, it's not a one-time use thing, right?
See,
Yep.
nope. I thought it was a one-time. Like you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Gotcha.
I'm about to spend $200.
Yeah.
No,
Shit,
so,
I'm done messed up.
No, your recipe, all the ingredients. Think about baking a cake, right? Okay, flour, sugar, whatever. I
Yes,
don't
sir.
bake cakes.
No, I'm with you though. Yeah,
But
yeah.
all of those ingredients for beer, $35, $45, $50, right around there. So, and that's that's gonna be your final product. That's what you're
I
not
got you.
reusing. Everything else.
Good analogy.
Is,
I got it.
You can reuse.
Cool.
Trying to think tips and tricks though. So, yes, there are starter kits, basic recipes, simple recipes. The tips and tricks that always come up is like keep your stuff clean, right? That's
Yeah.
But for me, I want to give the podcast a little bit more than that because that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Tips and tricks. Once you've realized that you need to keep your gear clean, follow your recipe. I would say work with somebody who's done it before, and then also watch your temperature. Your temperature during fermentation, and then mash pH and what would be my third? Is that am I on 3? Third one, enjoy it. That's another cop out. That's another cop out.
But yeah, that's a good safe answer
No,
though.
that is
Yeah.
good though, because I think a lot of people get very
Do they
stressed
get?
out.
I was going to
over
ask. Yep.
things.
Yep.
And
Maybe
you
lose.
talk to some people and you have to remind them like it's beer. It should be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Relax,
Well-
have a homebrew.
Yes, that's the common.
When I looked
phasing.
on,
Yep.
Yeah.
when I looked online, and I was trying to like do my research on this stuff and whatnot, there was one question that was like, "Hey, yeah, it may taste bad now, but say if you left it or you forgot about it,
Aging.
weeks, just age it, and then boom, it does that happen?
It can work.
Yeah.
It is. There's a lot of questions that will come up, and the answer is it depends.
Okay.
Okay. If your beer is infected, you are probably not gonna infect it with something bad. Now we get into the sours topic.
All right.
Uh,
So infection bad, freshness good.
Yeah, fresh is good. So some things your beer will do good with aging. Some
Okay.
things aging is not going to help you. You're just
Got
going to be taking up closet space, right?
Okay. All right.
But dark beers like this one here we're drinking today, this would be good aged.
Yeah. It goes down real smooth. I mean, I know we're going off on a tangent again, but that's probably the theme of this topic. But like, I'm not a stout drinker, like at all. Like, I'm not a fan of Guinness like that, pimping. Like, but this right here is really,
it's pretty
really
good.
smooth, sir.
Yeah.
I was going to ask too. So like, if it's possible, if you can though.
Okay.
Because I'm always curious. I mean, I love stories. Do you have kind of like, not a crazy story, but like one story, a customer story that was just like, hey, this is just either odd, funny, different, whatever, but it just stuck with you type of deal? Is there anything that you can share experience-wise? Like, hey...
Just, so you're looking for just like crazy customer story? Or... Okay.
Something entertaining, yeah.
Let me think about that for a minute. I'm sure I've got one.
We can come back to that.
Yeah. But if you let me think about it for a minute
for sure.
before the podcast is open, I'll probably come up with one.
Okay.
So you mentioned sours that intentionally infecting a beer. Do you brew many sours? Have any tips, especially for? I've been kind of wondering about. And I'm kind of all over the place now. Open fermented sours.
Oh yeah.
And how do you prevent those? How do you prevent the bad bacteria from getting in those?
Sure.
Do you have any tips about that?
That is a complex question.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people that are much more equipped to answer that than I. For me, I've steered away from the open air stuff. Yeast is usually going to out compete, anything, especially when we're inoculating the batch with such high quantities of yeast. It's going to out compete anything that's kind of loose in the air. That's not to say anybody should just be keeping their fermenter open. Don't. Bad idea.
That's how you get flies.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I have brewed sours and hit or miss luck. Let's see. I've cheated on some of my sours by just throwing lactic acid in there
I've
at
done
the
that.
end.
Yeah. No shame.
But kettle souring is probably the most popular right now. In terms of
kettle souring is what?
Kettle souring, so you're going to take your wort and you're going to inoculate it with your sour culture. Say your lactobacillus.
Sure.
And you're going to hold it at I think it's like 110. Don't quote me on that. Maybe you can do some fancy editing. And,
hold it at.
but you're going to hold it at a temperature for 24 hours. What's going to happen is that lactobacillus or like culture is going to sit and eat the sugars, but it's all done right in your kettle. One of the big concerns about sours is that you've basically dedicated your equipment to that sour culture because it's very hard to kill some of these souring cultures, the bacteria and such. So, but by doing it in your kettle, what happens is after that 24-hour period, you light the fires and you then pasteurize your entire kettle once again.
Oh, okay.
So nothing living then goes back into your fermenter, unlike other more traditional methods of souring where
it would.
where that culture is going into the vessel, whatever it is, your plastics, right?
Oh wow. Okay, that's pretty clever.
It is really clever.
Are there other, like you said, intentionally trying to infect? Are there other kind, like you said, there's sour? Are there other ones that you intentionally infect to get other kind of tastes? Or, I don't know what the word is.
There are. I'll have to show you my fridge over there. I think I've got like 60 some odd cultures over there.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Most are yeast. There's just a lot.
Okay.
I'll show you. I could show you the chart there. Each one is going to impart different flavors, kind of some to the aroma.
Interesting. Yeah.
How would for a beginner brewer, someone getting into sours, maybe you could answer. How would you tell the difference between my beer is souring nicely and my beer is infected and has nasty pellicles? Like, is there like a smell test or like the pellicle from a good sour looks different from the bad? I don't know. I don't do much sours. So
sure. So I like to say the nose knows. It sounds corny, but there's probably a more scientific way to answer that. And I would probably steer most people to a certain someone. What is?
We may have to.
Hang tight. We've got some.
We got some activity over here.
Yeah.
Every time when we do this podcast, I mean, come on, sir.
Look for his book real quick.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put a siren noise in
fire
the
department.
background. Oh my goodness gracious! What are the chances?
I know. Sirens are a little harder.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I just could not remember his last name. So Michael Tonsmeyer, like he's the guy for sours.
Okay. So in this book is American Sour Beers.
American Sour Beers. Yep.
And I see it's signed.
Yes, it
Nice.
is signed. I met him out at Ocelot.
Okay.
The brewery out here. He was there for a 50 West Homebrew Club meeting.
Okay.
So he came and gave a little talk. It was really cool. I mean, it was a good talk. And then he ended up signing my American Sour Beers book.
Nice.
But anything you want to know about sours, I would say pick up his book. Sold here at Jay's.
Well, a question is, you were saying because this was at some brew club or something like that. Are there advantages that you have to be in this club type of deal? Like, is it like you just get more exposure towards like, hey, these are more pros?
Sure. Good questions. There's a few homebrew clubs in the area, and all are open. They're open to the public.
Awesome.
Right?
Okay.
There's dues. You want to join. Right? Yeah. But their focus is education. So
done.
Advancing
and knowledge. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Advancing your understanding of beer, how to make it, how to enjoy it, whatever. Probably the top three I mentioned: 50 West, DOH. They actually meet here. Great club. And then that's Downright Obsessed Homebrewers, and then
Nice.
Prince William Brewers Guild. That's another one. There are a few in the area. I would say those are the top three that come to my mind.
Man.
I'm sure somebody's going to be offended that I didn't name drop theirs, but these guys are, everybody's pretty loyal. But those are the largest clubs.
That's
that
cool.
I know of.
That's cool, man.
Yep.
Cool. Did you have anything else, Tyke?
Hold on.
You
Let
good?
me check my handy dandy notebook.
Right.
That's a phone.
You are sharp, sir. Well, okay, yeah. So you said you had 3 kids, right?
3.
Do they get, other than doing chores and stuff like that, do they have like, do they get involved in certain ways or like help out with bookkeeping or like, are there things that get the family?
Sure.
Other than breaking
example.
your window.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
nice.
whoa,
Yeah.
no, you can't.
John's remember.
What happened?
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Couple stories there, right? Let's see how to organize this, but they get involved in ways. I would say none of them. My oldest is 7.
Sweet.
And so I definitely don't want him in the books just yet. But they do a great job. They clean around here, and we try to incentivize, hard work. With small tokens of our appreciation, 50 cents here, whatever. Restocking, I'm looking at all the malt extract, and it's pretty stocked up, but they may have had a hand in that, to be honest with you. It's not uncommon to see us in here after hours, cleaning up, stocking stuff, things like that.
That's something that's going to stick with them too.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Try to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Dan had brought up the breaking of the windows thing, so that's a story. It was like a Saturday. Saturdays are our busiest day. For some reason, we had the kids in here. I think it was we were transitioning. We were going to somewhere, maybe going to soccer.
Okay.
I don't remember, but nonetheless, my son was like spinning this magnet around. He had a magnet on a string, like a heavy, like rare earth magnet or something, spinning it around, and freak thing. Flipped out of his hand, smashed the glass. It was pretty ugly. Yeah, $300 later.
Probably look on his face like, oh.
Yeah, we didn't know what happened because he threw it from way in the back of the shop, nobody was over here. Just all of a sudden, the whole big, commercial glass door window smashed, and and it's a tempered glass window, so it pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Lesson learned on that one.
Yeah. So we did a little Facebook Live on that. Just another day at Jay's or whatever.
Good job, son. Good job.
It's been fun though. Yeah.
And then how old are the other two? If you want me.
Oh, he's gonna quiz me. You're.
Because I got the 18, I got the 6, I got the 4. So it's like
Got it. So 4 and 2.
Okay.
Are my other ones. Yeah.
Done.
Cool.
Yeah. They're good.
Yeah.
We got 2 boys and a girl. The
Okay.
youngest is a girl, and we're done.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, yeah.
So,
Dan's got this huge book of notes. He's ready to grill me.
no, I'm good. So, I think we can wrap up with
Well, no,
anything.
hold
Oh, no.
Did
Okay.
you get, did
yeah,
you get
got
your?
more. You got more.
Did you get your story, or did you happen to remember?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
good.
yeah,
He's
okay.
gonna.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Good
no,
call,
because
Tyke.
I'm
Good
all
call.
about
Good call.
all about it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like just a humorous thing about kind of Mark and I. Mark is the gentleman that works here with us, right? And I said he's been brewing longer than me. But he and I will often go back and forth on beers, and if I can, I love to rub him when or if there's a flaw, and if there's not, even if there's no flaw in his beer, I just love to
Make
rub
one
him.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
try
To
to
keep on
point
his toes. Yeah.
So that's a good one. But generally, I don't have any crazy stories.
Okay.
That are not self-inflicted.
Okay.
But I can tell you, like, just talk to the experience about having the homebrew shop, being a part of the community. It's just been really great. One of the funnest things I think we do every year is the Brew Fest. So like Summer Brew Fest, Summer Nova Brew Fest, or Fall Brew Fest. And then there's 2 events. They're AHA sponsored, American Homebrewers Association sponsored, and that's Big Brew Day and Learn to Homebrew Day. And actually, so this is a good time for me to plug it. Hope you don't mind.
No. Just
I was going to give you
on
time
the
at the end,
on the 3rd of next month, November, there is, and I don't know if this will air before or after, but we have the Learn to Homebrew Day, National Learn to Homebrew Day.
Oh, cool.
And so that's where we all get out here and we brew. We brew together. It's a really great time.
Where?
We'll actually set up on the side of the shop right here.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Like in the parking lot?
In the parking
Very
lot. Everybody's invited. You don't have to be a brewer. You can, it happens every year. Like I said, there's 2 of these kind of big brew style events every year. This one we do
November 3rd. What time on?
We usually start around 9 a.m. So give everybody time to brew in the morning.
Is that Saturday? I'm sorry. I'm like, hey,
No.
what's this? What's
Yeah,
that?
no, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but I have to look at my calendar.
You said it was November 3rd?
It's a Saturday.
Cool.
Yeah. Saturday.
November 3rd, 9 a.m.
So we'll be here on the side of the shop. We usually try to do like a little breakfast or even donuts, coffee.
Right.
I'm gonna try to get some sponsors out this year to maybe
Smart
food truck or whatever.
move. Yeah,
We'll see,
Nice.
but it grows every year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if the listener doesn't hear this before, they should definitely check in and see
I'm a
us
holler.
next year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Curious about that for sure, especially get more knowledge and whatnot on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's usually samples floating around.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sure.
So
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other plugs or samples that you want?
no. Sorry, I've probably plugged more than I usually do.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, no. Keep.
But
Whatever you want to plug, I mean.
you guys are too kind.
Oh man.
Okay, well, so you got home brewing and small business. Anything particularly, I can speak,
I got you.
rewarding about either one, like home brewing or owning your own, small business?
Jill's her own boss, aside from me.
Okay.
She answers to me. She's gonna love hearing this.
I was about to say, like, dude, you've already told me.
It's been nice. Yeah.
Like, sir.
It's been nice knowing you guys.
This will
Where'd
not be on the
Thomas
Jay's
go?
Facebook page.
No, we're pretty self-governing. That's nice. Owning our own business has been really, really great because it's afforded us the flexibility with the kids.
Okay.
Such a plus.
Yeah, Jill's been able to pick kids up from school.
Yeah.
I haven't had to take off a lot of time from work for things like that. She really does a great job there. And I mean, what better business though than owning a homebrew shop? Because you're like I said, we feel like we're a part of the community. And I hope that the brewers, the professional brewers around here, there's a lot of them, would agree. We see them in here enough, so I would hope they agree. But what a great business to be.
I don't see how you can
in
this business without being in the community, without giving back, without being transparent type of deal. I mean, that right there is just going to add, and you're just going to improve year after year, pal. I mean, obviously I don't know anything about brewing, but I mean, just as far as like running a business like this, it makes sense.
It's good. It is real good. The breweries around here, we're pretty involved with. So that's what I mean by, we feel like we're a part of the community.
Yeah. It's like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's good.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, Thomas. Really appreciate it. You've had fun.
Thanks
Learned
for
a
having
lot.
us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Dude.
Listener, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please consider donating to any of the organizations in the description if you're able to. Thanks again, everyone, and good night.
Yep.
Good night.